I'm a personal believer in that violence is never the answer. Perhaps a bit cliche, but as soon as as soon as protests begin to become violent, it kind of undermines the legitimacy of the protest. Um, and I believe that if change is to be made, it should be made through collaboration, through discussion, through table talks. I don't think, throwing bricks or breaking windows, beating up tourists, blocking off transportation hubs. I don't believe this is a good way to support your cause. And I think it's been seen with a lot of, the counter protests against the violent rioters. I believe police have been more than showing restraint because they've been attacked with, bricks and various other harmful objects, and they're still doing their best to just control the protests. They're not aggressively striking back as you might see in other places around the world. And I think also the media coverage is unfair as well. It's because in a lot of places, for example, in France, for the G7 summit specifically, there's thousands and thousands of protesters, and even though most of them are peaceful, the police are already using tear gas and arresting protesters, and a lot of that doesn't make it to onto media. But anything that happens in Hong Kong, it's all over the media. Everyone knows about it, and so I think there's definitely a line where you can say it's not fair, because why does one set of protests in the West get a certain kind of media coverage when a similar kind of protest, will get all of the media coverage, and people calling for intervention, people pledging their support. I think that a lot of to blame is, first of all, the small portion of violent protesters in Hong Kong, as well as the media. A lot of media is just not reporting very accurately. I believe any country's sovereignty should be respected. For example, there's a whole list of issues I could list from various other countries that you don't see other countries moving in to, try and have an influence on. For example, the issue on gun control in the United States is largely an American issue. There are very few governments that are trying to have an influence on that. The issue of immigration in Australia, very few countries are trying to step in to have an influence on that. There's kind of this weird double standard of sovereignty, where in the West, countries respect other Western governments' sovereignty. Their sovereignty is all respected, but as soon as it comes to China, for some reason that standard changes.